Hello, myself Dr. Avinash Jadhav, Associate Professor in Department of Biochemistry, St. J.S. Medical College and KM Hospital, Bareilly. So here we are going to discuss about standard operating procedure and why it is really very important in a clinical laboratories. What are the advantages? What are the steps involved in preparation of SOPs? How to create impressive SOPs? So we will discuss one by one in this topic.
Now, here there is a new entry of Mr. Ramesh, and here he is a very quick lad and he is a new technician. But even though he has a basic knowledge of his lab, his personal experience, but still he is not able to do any work. Why? Because there is a no good SOP. If we have a good SOP, then that new technician can perform any work very easily. So here, whenever this Mr. Ramesh is a new technician, he joined today and he went to the boss, sir, what are my tasks? What should I do now? But the boss used to call to the senior boss, sir, here we have a new technician and he doesn't know what is his job. What should we do now? So in this condition, there is an answer from from the boss. Yes, okay, this is new now. Let him work. Let him familiarize. Let him see what are the steps, what are the work which are commonly performed in this lab. So after the next week, we will tell him what are the steps, what is his work. These things are commonly seen in a lab and how to avoid this. This thing, it can only be avoided whenever we have a standardized SOPs. Similarly, here you can see the another technician and the technician who is performing centrifugation, but unfortunately he forgot. He can't remember what are the steps involved in a centrifugation. He is not able to remember even how many rotations are required for particular process, what is the time period required for that. So is it 3000 rotation for 5 minutes or 5000 rotation for 3 minutes? Similarly, here you can see the another technician who is performing his duty on auto analyzer, and suddenly he is not able to manage. There is some error in that process. So how to manage that error? These things are commonly seen in the lab. There are n number of errors may come whenever we perform duty on auto analyzer. So he called his boss, sorry sir, our new auto analyzer machine is not working properly. What shall I do now? Again here this is a Mr. Karan who is a very experienced. He can perform his duty very properly, but because of some reason he is a very sick and he could not perform his work properly. Why? Because he is sick and no one will perform his work. So what should we do now? So in this condition, if we have a good SOP, that SOP can replace this person, and that new technician or new person, new appointment can perform this work very efficiently. So here these are the common things which are seen in a lab. So now, what is the importance of knowledge? Knowledge is very important and it comes only by experience, and these things should be preserved in our lab. Why? Because if any technician is there, that technician may not be there for the long period of time. A technician may retire, may transfer, may get promotion, so that technician may leave your organization. So it is the responsibility of organization to preserve that knowledge, and that knowledge can be preserved in a form of book, in a form of standardized SOPs, so that that thing can be helpful for the new technician. So whatever the knowledge he has or she has, that is preserved in your organization for the long period of time, and that knowledge, it is useful for everyone. Whatever the personal experiences they had, they can store all the things into this in the form of book, and that book can be your SOP. So the question is why there is no SOP in organization. So the thing is that you have to prepare SOP. So let's discuss what is SOP. So SOPs are the document that include a step-by-step instruction that laboratory staff should meticulously follow when performing procedure. So in SOP, everything is written in a step-by-step manner so that the laboratory staff can use that step very properly, and that can be used for the procedure. So these SOPs are compiled by laboratory management system to help lab staff to carry out complex routine operations. So next, number of SOPs can be written inside the clinical laboratories. So SOP, it may be for describing laboratory methods. The SOP here in all the lab methods, what are the steps involved in the lab method, everything starting from A to Z you can write in that laboratory method. Similarly, you can write SOP for the equipments. You can write SOPs for the equipments and machines. What are the how to operate that machine? What are the maintenance of machine? What are the error may come into the instrument? How to manage equipment? Everything you can write in that SOP. Similarly, you can write SOP for the safety precautions. Suppose in our lab, there may many times what happens, there may be some accident, there may be some complications may happen while handling reagent, handling equipment, handling centrifuge machine. So what are the steps, what are the precautionary measures if it is written in your SOP that will prevent accidents, and that thing can be easily prevented by SOP. The SOP will warn to the particular technician that so you will be vigilant while handling that particular equipment, while handling or performing any procedure. Similarly, once you have completed your task, you have performed any method, and at the end you will get a result. And how to store that result, how to maintain that result, how long you have to maintain that result. For that, even you can write SOPs. Suppose you have planned any project, and in that project what happens, there is some criteria for that. After the end of project, you have to maintain that record. So how long you have to maintain that record, when to destroy that record, everything you can plan, everything you can create, everything you can prepare, everything you can store. So all these things, there should be a proper SOPs for that. So that SOP will guide to particular program, particular any project. So what are the steps involved in storing and destroying particular document? For that you can write SOPs. Similarly, what are the steps involved in a sample collection, receiving and registration? That is also very important. What are the steps involved in a preparation of reagent? As the reagent, it is the heart of your analysis. If something wrong happened with that reagent, if you have not followed the proper guidelines which are required for the preparation of reagent, it will be you will be land into the big trouble. Your results will not be accurate at all. What are the steps involved in a test analysis? So whenever you perform any operation, any procedure, anything, any analysis, it should be in a step-by-step manner. If anything wrong, your result will be wrong. And now even you can prepare SOPs for the dealings with complaint. Many times the sample may come and you have performed all the procedure, but your result is not in correlation with the disease. So how to deal with that complaint? How to manage that complaint even at night? So there should be a proper SOPs for dealing with such complaints. So we need SOPs for the 9 reasons. SOP, it facilitates communication. Well written SOP that clearly communicate responsibilities to the laboratory staff. There is no need of training every time. The SOP that will help you that will facilitate clear communication, accurate communication, and that will guide your technician to perform his duty properly. SOP, it facilitates. The important point is that you not to rely on your memories. What happens sometimes you may forget some step and you have to apply that stress on your brain. Whenever you apply stress on the brain, that will release your adrenaline, that will be responsible as we know that stress is an important factor for the diabetes. So every time with the help of good SOP, you don't have to rely on their memories. So SOP is a very good to make your work stressless. SOP, it helps to increase the productivity. As we know that whenever we have a good SOPs, that SOP that will facilitate you to increase productivity. So if you are work properly, your lab is working properly, so you can add new test in your lab, and that test that will increase your number of tests in your what you call the final booklet, that this much of test we perform, and that thing only come if we have a well organized SOP. The SOP will decide how much time is required for the particular work, and your work will be completed in a proper time. So it will save time and not have to retrain your lab staff and not have to remind them of what needs to be done. SOP, it facilitates cross-training. SOP that allow other lab staff to fill in and complete tasks they don't normally perform if those key players are on vacation or out of sick. So what happens most of the time, what happens is some of the lab staff may be on vacation or may be sick. So in that condition, the SOP, it may facilitate cross-training, so that particular key player, if he or she is absent, that task can be done by other lab member. SOP indicate compliance that can be used as a part of personal training program. So SOP, if you have a good SOP, you can train anyone. SOP, it is also important for the performance lab evaluation. With SOPs, manager can clearly identify success, and if your technician or if your lab member is following SOPs, so your success is, there is always a success. You will not land up into any trouble. With the help of SOP, the manager can able to justify his disciplinary action and termination action. If you have a good SOP, even though your employee is not working properly, it means that you can take some disciplinary action or you can take termination action. SOP, it helps lab member to support each other. Whenever there is a learning, whenever you are learning some new processes, so that lab staff can help and train each other rather than every time relying on a manager, sir, what to do now, what will be the next step. This thing can be avoided because you have SOP, and that SOP that will help lab staff to support each other for performing any task. Lab staff, which is this SOP, that will help to create a safe work environment. So if we have a clearly written SOP, that SOP that will prevent any accidents and injuries, because before performing any task, any duties, that SOP will make you alert that while performing this procedure, there may be some accident may occur, there may be some injury may occur, so you have to be vigilant, and that thing is available in your SOP, so that will help in your safe work environment. It is important for the project activities. So what happens as the project activity is for some short period of time, and you have to cover each and everything. So if you have a good SOP, that will save your time, and so whatever the task you want to perform, that will be done into the proper manner. This again, it saves time and it reduces your work effort. So if you have a good SOP, that will save time. And if you have here you are not applying your brain, everything is written here, so that will reduce your work effort. SOP is frequently used as a checklist by the inspector when there is a auditing procedures are there. Most of time in auditing, the inspector always demand that your lab has some SOPs or not. If you have SOP, it means that you are working properly. So it is always in a checklist of inspectors. SOP, it may help in your legal defensibility. If there is some mishap happen, if there is some wrong results are there, in that condition, SOP may help to it may help to follow. It may help you. SOP plays important role in a legal defensibility. So if there is any problem occurred in a lab, there may be some wrong result. It is a dispatch. So if there is complaint is there, so SOP is there. If you have a good SOP is there, you are following that SOP, even though the result is wrong, that is not your error. If you have a good SOP is there, the SOP is working. SOP play important role in a legal defensibility. What is the roadmap of SOP? So this is the overview. So we will discuss under this the SOP under this following heading: overview, purpose, writing style, how to write title page, how to write table of content, what should be the text, what are the steps involved in a procedure of SOPs, equipment, analysis, how to prepare SOP, its revision and approval, frequency of reviewing, checklist, document control, and how to apply SOP system. So first of all, overview, which is already discussed. What is the purpose of SOP? So SOP can be used for the equipment. So how to calibrate a particular equipment, what are the steps involved in operation, what are the steps involved in the maintenance of SOPs. Then SOP for the analysis. So measurement of certain analyte. So the steps like preparation of reagent, preparation of sample, how to perform test analysis and perform quality control. Similarly, SOPs for the procedure. So what are the steps involved in performing that procedure? For example, collection of blood sample and cleaning of laboratory rooms. So all these things comes under the types of SOP, and what is the exact purpose of your SOP. Now what are the writing style? So your SOP, it should be simple and concise. It should not be lengthy. It should be easily understandable, so that the person who is following SOP, he can use that SOP easily without any difficulties. The SOPs, it is abbreviated like step-by-step instruction. The instruction should be step-by-step. So it should be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Not like 10, 7, 4, 1. It should be in a step-by-step manner. It should be easy to read format, so that the person who is using SOP that can easily read without any difficulty. The information, it should be clear, unambiguous, and not overly complicated. That is the important part. It should be always clear. It should be available in the local languages. So most of the time, what happens? Some of the technician, he may be not good in English, or he is not comfortable in English, not able to understand that. Even our class 4 worker, they are also not good in English. So in that condition, you can write SOP in a local language. You can create SOP in two forms, English form and the local language form. But for showing purpose, for displaying in your for that particular for a particular class 4 worker, you can write in Hindi language or Marathi language, any language you want, that is local language. But for a documentary purpose, you can write, you can keep it in a English language. Next thing is the SOP, it should be always in an active voice. Always use present verb tense like add, mix, incubate. And the term use should not be used, but it should imply it. Example like you should not add 1 ml and then you should vertex. So it is wrong. The simple thing is the add 1 ml and vertex. It is a simple thing. In SOP you can follow the flow chart. If you want a flow chart that is easy to understand, so you can use flow chart for the writing purpose. Now every lab that can decide their font size and how much margin is required for particular SOP, it is totally depend on the lab. So there is no such any guideline for that. Now title page. So title page, it is a good idea to standardize the format of SOPs so staff can easily recognize and the flow of information. It will be easily recognizable and it will be easily efficiently used by them. Now, so the format, it should not be in a long paragraph. Whatever the format you are adding, you are using for your SOP, it should not be in a long paragraph. You have to break into the logical steps. What are the, so it should be always in a step by step, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is easy. And always consider more details during SOP writing. Sometimes what happens, some of the processes are very critical and large number of the people who will use that SOP. So again, sometimes what happens, that maybe training is not routinely available, so it should be in big detail. It should not be shortcut. There should be no shortcut for the SOP. Always write SOP in a big detail. But actually, there is no such correct format for SOP. It is always varies according to different laboratories. So there is no such clear format for writing SOP. Okay. Now this is the title page. So the SOP first page or cover page, that will indicate the lab name, lab unit, the title of your procedure or your activity, the code number of your SOP, or it's called as SOP identification number. We discuss that SOP identification number later on. Then the person who has prepared SOP, who revised SOP, who approved SOP, is the review of the SOP, or there is some annual review. Everything you have to write on your first page or cover page. The name of the person who prepared, his signature, and a particular date. Date is very important. Then text. So sometimes the SOP is too long. So what are the content of the SOP you have to write in your SOP format? Because if you are creating SOP for any equipment, so that is a very long SOP. And sometimes if you want to see what do you want, suppose there is an error in a lab. So in your table of content, you write which type of error is there and how to manage that error. The error, this table of content is very important. There are some guidelines for writing this table of content. One is by International Organization of Standardization, that is ISO style, and other one is a CNSI style, that is a Clinical and Laboratory Standards Institute. So here you can write table of content according to your choice. Item may vary according to the purpose of writing of the SOP. So here this is a general item. So first it will include header, then title, then objectives and scope of SOP, abbreviations, definitions and terms used in your SOP, who is going to perform the task, responsibilities and accountabilities, safety and work environment, procedure, documents related to that particular procedure, forms related to that particular procedure, references and appendixes. So this is a general item of SOP, but it varies according to the procedure. It varies according to the procedure. So here in a header, the complete header, it is like this. Here you are using the name of lab, hospital, institute, your department, page number. So here the page number is very important. So page 1 of 5 means there are 5 pages, and this is the first page of your SOP. Okay. Then the SOP title. The SOP title, you have to write what is the title of your SOP. Then what is the code of SOP? The code of SOP we will discuss later on. Then the name, signature and date, which we have already discussed. Now this is the sum of the reduced header, a small version that will appear on all pages other than the first. So these are the reduced header which will appear on the other pages. So here it is a page 2 of page 5, means it is a page number 2 page, again the title and again the code. So what is this SOP code? So suppose we are doing so here this is a malaria microscopy procedure, analysis, and here in this analysis, here we are using this A for the analysis. 04, it means it is a 04, it is the number of the SOP. This is the 4th SOP and it is review. And V03, it means that it is a revised thrice. A means what is the exact purpose or type of SOP. It is the analysis. Per procedure, it is analysis. For that we will use A. For procedure we will use P, and for equipment we will use E. So here the code of the malaria microscopy SOP is A04V03. So A indicates analysis. Suppose A for analysis, P for procedure, E for equipment. Now 04, it is a number of SOP. This is the 4th number of SOPs there. And V03, it means it is a revised thrice. It is a revised thrice. Okay. Then title. The title, it will clearly identify the activity or any procedure. Okay. Then what are the objectives and scope of SOP? So briefly describe the objectives and what is the scope of this SOP and to whom this SOP is applicable. So you have to write that. Then next thing is the abbreviations, definitions and term use. The list the abbreviations and terms which we have used into the SOP. Sometimes there may be some difficult word, there will be some abbreviations, there will be some technical term. So you have to simplify that term, that abbreviations, so that that can be easily understandable. Then task and responsibility. Who is going to perform that particular task, particular operation? So you have to write that in this format. Then safety and environment. So while performing any laboratory procedure, you have to maintain, you have to write what are the safety precautions you have to take while performing any procedure or while working on particular equipment. That thing you have to keep it in mind, and you have to write that procedure, write that thing into this part, the safety and environment. Now procedure. So here it differs according to the analysis, according to procedure, according to equipment. So differ according to the SOP purpose. We will discuss it later on. Now what are the documents related to the SOP? So it will provide, so here you have to provide a list of related documents such as any related SOP from which you have taken this reference, any package insert. Sometimes what happens with any a kit, there may be some package insert and from that you have taken this content. Similarly for equipment, there may be some equipment manual. You have to write that list of related document into this column. And software manuals, how to handle that software, whatever from which you have taken this reference, you have to add that thing into this content. Then what are the forms related? Provide a list of forms that are relevant to any SOP. So any SOP, there may be some there is a requirement of some request form, requirement of some work forms or some batch forms. So you have to write, you have to add this in this particular column. That's references. If you have used any books or any recent journals, you have to write the reference from according to the any guide, according to this guideline. For book you have to write title, edition, authors, publishers, year, city, anything what is given in that book. Again for the journal you have to write journal name, year, volume, issue, title of author or authors. The first and last page you have to mention here. Then appendices, provide a list of annexes, so you have to write here. Then now coming to the technical SOP for the procedure, equipment and analysis. Now how to write SOP for the procedure? So it represents the majority of lab SOPs written for any procedure inside the lab, range from the collecting the patient sample to the cleaning of lab room. So 80% of all the procedure it comes under the procedure SOP. It may be from collecting patient sample, preparation of culture media, staining of peripheral blood smear. So all that thing comes under procedure of SOP. There are n number of things are there, but here we have taken some examples only. Then equipment. So for equipment, here we have some general item in which we will add some other items also. So these are description of the piece of equipment, startup procedures, operations and problem solving. So here in this slide, point number 5 is description of the piece of equipment. So write a short introduction of equipment, name, type, brand, supplier, function, method, principle, measurement range, and if you want you can add a photo. Then describe the startup procedure like calibration and control and maintenance. So here you have to write a separate paragraph all the sequences of performing calibration, controls and maintenance. So always write in the form of open, press, start. Everything, what are the steps involved in that equipment you have to write them. Then problem solving. So most of the time the equipment may present with some error. How to solve error you have to write. Then analysis. Again for the analysis, now here we discuss about analysis. For analysis again all the general terms are there, and here there are additional terms like principle, sample, equipment and supplies, reagent and chemicals, quality control and procedure for the particular analysis. So here in principle you will write method, detection limit, specificity, reference values, describe briefly how the result must be interpreted. Next with the sample, which type of sample you are using, how much amount is required for the sample, for the analysis, what are the storage condition, duration of storage, temperature for storing such analysis you have to write them. Then for about equipment, again you have to use the SOP for the equipment which we already discussed, or the SOP for particular equipment. Then what are the things required for the particular analysis, like pipettes. For example, sometimes for any analysis you need a laser reader, a laser washer, some multi-channel pipettes you want, and where it is kept you can add in your SOP. Then for reagents, how to prepare reagent, what are the method of preparation, shelf life, storage condition, release of new lot numbers, or refer to other SOP if it is applicable. What are the storage location, what are the storage conditions for particular reagents you can add here. Now important point is the quality control. So here which quality control material you are using, how to prepare that, what is the shelf life of that quality control material, the storage condition, everything you have to write in this column. Now procedure. Here you have to, whenever you are writing a procedure for the SOP for analysis, you have to write procedure in big detail so that any person with a basic knowledge can use your SOP. Okay. Now in procedure, what is the processing requested there? You have to write what are the how to prepare that sample, how to centrifuge that sample, which type of control material you are using, on which equipment you have to perform that procedure, and how the sample you have to describe how patient samples must be analyzed. Everything you have to write in this procedure. Then how result should be processed, who is the first authorization, who is the second authorization, when result can be reported to the requester, how to store that report, how to archive that report, how long you have to keep it, everything you have to write in this procedure. And last thing is how to clean up and wash and clear whatever the waste material which is prepared, which is produced by the particular analysis, how to dispose that. In that condition, you have to use relevant SOPs. Then, how to prepare SOP? That is important point. Preparation. So, who should prepare SOP? So, individuals who are knowledgeable with SOP activity and who knows each and everything about the laboratory internal structure. So, he is always a senior person who should write SOP or who should revise SOP. Who are most often perform all the tests, who knows all the small details that make the test perform optimally and that can describe these into the SOPs. So the person who is well knowledgeable, who knows everything, he should write SOP. If any person who is performing any analysis for a long period of time, he knows each and every pitfalls or any small details that make that procedure accurate. So that person should write SOP and who knows each and every thing about lab. And writing SOP, it is a team approach that can be followed especially for the multi-task processes where the experience of number of individuals are critical. If you are preparing a big SOP like a mega SOP, so here the experience of number of individuals are very important because this because it is a very cumbersome, and if you make that work to the, if you ask someone who is a single one and you are asking to prepare that all SOP, it's difficult, it's really cumbersome. So it is a team approach can be followed especially for the multi-task processes, and here the experience of number of individuals should be shared. Now to whom SOP will be written? Now you are writing SOP for whom? Who is essentially a subject matter expert who actually perform the work or use the processes. So you are writing SOP for the person who is actually working in your lab. What is the first step here? So make a list of all the tests performed in the laboratory. Now you want to prepare SOP for your lab. So you have to make a list of all the tests which are performed into the laboratory. And who is responsible for this first step? Yes, the quality project team in cooperation with the laboratory manager. So this is the first step in the preparation of SOP. How SOP should be written? SOP should be written with a sufficient detail so that someone with a limited experience, without knowledge of procedure, but with basic understanding. Ideally what happens, the SOP should be in such a way that even a 5th standard student can understand what is written in SOP. But here the basic knowledge is very important, without that you can't proceed. So a person with a limited experience, without knowledge of the procedure, but with basic understanding can understand what is written in SOP. So the SOP should be written like that manner. So that person can successfully perform the procedure when unsupervised. Whenever without supervision, that person can perform his work. How SOP should be written? You have to spread the task. You have to spread that particular task over different staff members. So that will prevent overloading of one staff member with a huge amount of work, and again that increases the involvement and commitment of all staff members. So no, not a single staff member that will be responsible for overloading, because it is a big and cumbersome work, and if you are preparing SOP in a group, so that will involve involvement and commitment. Now revision and approval. Now who will review and approve the final SOP? The SOP should be reviewed by one or more individual with the appropriate training and experience with the processes. The SOP should be reviewed by one or more individual with appropriate training and experience with the process. And it is helpful if draft SOP are actually tested by individual other than the original writer before SOP is finalized. So you have to test your SOP, whatever steps you have written in your SOP, you have to test that, because that SOP it is a generalized, it may be used by anyone. So you have to assure that everything in your SOP which is written there, it is correct, accurate, and your final result will be correct. So you have to test that SOP, and then you have to it is finalized. So that SOP, it is reviewed by unit director and approved by quality assurance officer. At the end, there is a signature approval indicate that SOP has been reviewed and approved by the management. So here you can use digital signature. Now frequency of reviewing. SOP need to be updated. The review date should be added to each SOP that has been reviewed. You have to write the date. Date is very important. At what date that SOP is reviewed. If an SOP describes a process but that is no longer followed, so in that condition you have to withdraw that SOP from the current file, and you have to store for the you have to store that SOP and for the historical importance. Now the SOP process reviewing, the review process should be simple and not cumbersome, so that it will encourage a timely review. The frequency of review should be indicated by management in a laboratory quality management plan. So it is depend upon the how frequently you have to review that. So when to review SOP, some lab they review every 6 months, some by every 1 year or 2 years, depend upon the type of lab and quality of lab. Then checklist. So what is the importance of checklist? So every SOP you can prepare a checklist. Sometimes some steps are very long. Many activities use checklist to ensure that steps are followed in order. And if all the steps are followed, you can tick that. It means that all the steps you have performed, and to document the completed action, it means that you have performed all the procedure. So here, even you are experienced in that particular procedure, but there should be no shame of using checklist, because it indicates that you have performed all the work properly. So you should use checklist every time. In some cases, detailed checklists are prepared specifically for a given activity. So for any given activity, there is a detailed checklist is prepared, and that should be used. In those cases, the SOP should describe how the checklist is to be prepared, or on what it is to be based. The copies of specific checklists should be then maintained in the file with the activity results or with the SOP. Then document control. In your lab, each laboratory should develop a numbering system by systematically identify and label their SOPs. This document control should be described in its quality management plan. So, generally each page of an SOP should have a control documentation notation. It is on location in the upper right hand corner of each document page following the title page. When the number of pages is indicated, we already discussed that if there are 6 pages, so the page number 3, page 3 of 6, it means it is a third page. And a short title and identification number can be served as a reference designation. The revision of SOP and date are very useful to identify the SOP is used when reviewing historical data. The critical when the need for the evidentiary records is involved or when the activity is being revived. So here you have to store, you have to write the date and you have to write the identification number. It is very important because some of the SOP which is no longer used, so it is withdrawn from your file. But sometimes again for some any other interest, if we are using that previous SOP, so if we have a proper SOP number, that will help you that when it was prepared, why it is used, everything will be in your data. Now, how to apply SOP system? So here, how to apply SOP system? So what are the steps? What are the steps involved in a SOP system? So listing all the lab tests. First step, make the list of all tests performed in the laboratory in a weekly staff meeting to all the staff members. So you know which SOP you have to write. So here you have to make a list of all the SOPs and distribute that SOP preparation task to your staff members. So make a list of all the tests performed in the laboratory to know which SOP will be written. Now for each of the SOP, determine which of the staff members are most suitable for writing. Then assign them, explain the procedure of writing SOP, to use the protocol for writing analysis SOP in the master SOP. So there is some master SOP, we have to take reference of that master SOP. Now what are the protocol involved in preparation of SOP is there. So you have to use some master SOP. Which type of template you are using for that SOP? If they have any question, they can go to the member of quality project team. If there is any doubt to that member, that person who is performing SOP, they can go anytime to the quality project team. Now you have to define the task of the staff member. So creating the SOP content, writing the procedure, how to write SOP, you have to define each and everything to the particular staff member who is writing, who is creating SOP. So you have to tell each and every minute detail of how to write SOP. You have to define, you have to explain the task. And make a smart appointment with a different staff member when to finish their task to keep this process going. So you have to give some deadline. At what time they will complete, they will finish that SOP. So you have to give some particular time to them. And there should be some deadline also. Then that SOP will give to the unit director and quality assurance officer for the revision and approval. Now the SOP is finished. Now when SOPs are ready, written, reviewed and approved, determine at which location copies of SOP must be available. So here you have to create a book and what location and what and in which book, which part, where you have to keep that SOP, you have to determine. So it varies according to lab. Now include the SOPs in a read and understand list. To indicate which staff member must read and understand the SOP, those for whom the SOPs are relevant. Suppose some staff member who is involved in preparation of reagent, some staff member who are involved in the preparation of performing any analysis, so the staff member who are involved in maintenance of any equipment. So here you have to create a read and understand list. It means that particular person have read that SOP and understood what is written into that SOP. Then in weekly staff meeting, to all staff members present SOP and where to find them. Explain which staff member have to read the SOP. Explain about the read and understand list, and must sign at the end that he read and he understood that SOP. And monitor that all the staff members are reading and reading that SOP and performing that procedure. If not, then remind them that they still have to do this. It is very important that to remind them that they still have to do this, and there should be a periodic review. Okay. Now this is the format of SOP. This is a holy book of lab. It is standard operating procedure. This is the first page of your SOP, in which the name of lab which is written here, the Central Clinical Laboratory SOPs, the general standard operating procedure, the page number is written here, then department wide distribution is there, like biochemistry from 35 to 39, from 35 to 90, metallurgy from 92 to 131, for molecular methods standard operating procedure it is 133 to 145, and for serology it is 146 to 190. Now here, this is acknowledgement. These are the member of this is staff of our. Here this is the acknowledgement that which members have made which. Here this is acknowledgement. This is a. Here you can see the acknowledgement that the dedication and hard work of the following people made the preparation of this standard operating procedure possible. So you have to mention the staff member who is involved in the preparation of SOPs. Then what are the abbreviations are there? You have to mention in this page. Then here you can see the general standard operating procedure and the page numbers are there. So here the first one is the procedure, stands for P, it is number 1 SOP, and it is revised 4th time. The processing, hematology and clinical chemistry specimens. Similarly, all the procedures are written here. Sometimes you can keep some blank space here also, so that if you want any SOPs, you can add here. Okay. Then this is the other page. This is for analysis, like biochemical analysis. You can write with page number, with the A for the analysis. This is number 3rd SOP, and it is revised thrice. So here you can write all these things in this manner. Similarly, for the molecular method standard operating procedure, you can write a procedure here. What are the steps involved here? You can write with the page number and with your SOP code. Again, the same thing is here. Now here is the first page, name of the college, the name of the lab, it's a laboratory standard operating procedure, what is the title of your SOP, blood collection by venipuncture in adult. This is the code number, the name, signature, date and signature of that particular person. person who prepared that SOP, who revised, who approved, who has done review, everything you have to mention here with date and a digital signature. This is the first page. Here it is title and return, objectives and scope, task and responsibilities, safety environment, the procedure is explained here. And here you can see there are the 3 pages, and this is a number 1 page of the particular SOP. Okay, and here there is a code number. This is page number 2 and 3. Again, this is another SOP. Again, same thing is there. The standard operating procedure, criteria for rejecting blood sample. Everything is written in step-by-step manner so that it can be easily understandable. This is page number 2 and 3. It's done. So it's all about SOP, how to use SOP, how to prepare SOP, what are the advantages involved in preparation of SOP, everything is discussed here. Thank you.